We'll talk about that.
It's quite poor. Hello, welcome. My name is Ian and this is Jason. We're Sydney's Review and this is part 2 of podcast 6. So if this is the first time you've just come here, you've just missed me telling you my top 10 best acts of Glastonbury 2025. So stop watching now and go and watch what's linked down below, and then you can catch up. So Jason, who actually went to Glastonbury, I've just sat and watched it on the TV and on the computer and on the iPad as well. But this man actually went to Glastonbury on the Sunday, so he's got the insider details. So over to you, Jason.
Yeah, so we were lucky enough to get local resident day tickets. So it's kind of Mendip and Central Somerset is the kind of catchment area where they open up for day tickets. There's an extra online day where it opens up. We were lucky, so we did apply for tickets for the whole thing. We sold out in 35 minutes. We didn't get a sniff. Didn't even get the little bar that ticks along on your progress. But we got tickets, which was good, and you basically get, it was £123, I think, for the day.
That's right.
We caught a bus from Castle Carey or Castle Scary, as I like to call it.
Yeah.
Castle Carey, which is the kind of village just down the road. There was a bus service from Frome. Saw that on the way back, people getting on the Frome one. I think Midsummer Norton was another one I saw, and something else. So we got a nice little bus, drive down to Castle Carey. There's a free car park. They had these London buses, very old London buses. You all jumped on. Obviously, everybody was in the vibe. Everybody had glitter on. You know, everyone was in the mood. I think a little bit is some people probably bail out on a Sunday morning because they've got to get up, go to work on a Monday. So if you're losing a few thousand people, they're bringing a few thousand people, kind of day people. So, you know, we got on the bus, 9 o'clock. We were in the site, 9:30, straight in. All the volunteers were there, got our wristband. We weren't searched. It was very well organised.
Oh, wow.
Search, didn't even search. You know, usually they search kind of ladies' bags, kind of none of that. You know, and off we went. It was really simple. I didn't expect it to be so simple. I suppose the buses were staggered, so they were only off like 200 people at a time, you know, so that made it easy. So you get there. I think what's interesting as you get there is it's actually very quiet. So you've kind of, for the first couple of hours, you've almost got the site to yourself before it populates, because most people have all been out late. They've all got acts. They're all taking it easy because there's no acts. You know, the day ramps up in terms of the acts. So for the first couple of hours, we were exploring and doing things. And really, the only people you could see were the Sunday people, the people that had showered, the people freshly made up, people out. You know, so that was quite interesting. And then as people started coming alive, you could see, okay, yeah, you've been here for 5 days, whilst I still
Yeah.
So the thing that was incredible, so we got to explore a little bit, is the size of the site. It's the picture behind me, is the map from the app. So there's a very, very good app, a very good Glastonbury app that gives you the lineup. It gives you a map how to get round. So you click on somebody you want to see. It points out where it is on the map and where are you, and you get there. I think they've done some work on the site to get a better mobile reception. I've certainly had prior years that nobody's got a reception. You're trying to ring you're trying to ring people to say what's going on. You could see they'd put up masts. You could see there was 2 or 3 big masts around the site, you know, so people are Instagramming and contacting each other and everything. So, I mean, what struck me straight away, I mean, it was bone dry, of course. You know, we barely had any rain all year, you know, hardly any rain. The reason I know that is I had to get the roof of my house fixed in February after a mighty downpour. And it hasn't rained since for me to check the workmanship. This was the end of February. So, we've had, I think the only ever shower we had, we were sitting filming the podcast.
We were, and it 15-minute
shower, right?
Yeah.
So the site was really dry, so kind of dust everywhere. It looks like they were wetting the walkways. They were maybe sprinkling them overnight just to try and keep the dust down,
Right.
but it soon dried out. So the site is absolutely massive. I've driven past it lots of times and got a sense of that it's big, but blimey when you're on there. So we walked 13 miles on the day. We did half a marathon, and there's still corners of the area we didn't see. Right, it's just incredible.
Yeah.
So we got in there, we got our bearings. It was myself and Kelly and our friend Ali. That we kind of stayed together pretty much the whole day. So the first thing, so we were looking around. There was a band I wanted to see who were the first band of the day. They were on at 11 a.m. on the West Holtz stage, which is, I think, is the one Decaf and Bob Villa are on. Yeah. So pretty big stage. So there was a band called Tandy, Thandii at the end, Tandy. And I've got a couple of their albums on vinyl, actually. I came across them because I joined Rough Trade, have a record club. So if you subscribe for £30 a month, they send you an exclusive vinyl. It's their record of the month.
Okay.
The exclusive version, so you get like free CDs, or it's a coloured vinyl, or you get booklets and posters and all that sort of stuff. So I was in that for a couple of years, and I did discover some new people from there. But then I was it went through a period where I was getting duds. I was like,
I can imagine, yeah.
5, I was like, 18-year-old punk band. It was like, yeah, not really for me. So I came out of the subscription, but I do still follow their Rough Trades record of the month recommendations. I'll give it a little listen, and if I like it, I go and buy the vinyl, and I go and buy it from Rough Trade.
Yeah.
So I'm not giving them 30 quid every month. I'm giving them 30 quid when there's an album I like that they've recommended. So that was where I was introduced to Tandy. Now, that was an amazing gig because there was when I first got there, they started playing, there was like 25 people there. And you could tell some of the 25 people were their relatives. And then it filled up a bit, probably got to about 100, 150. They're not that well known. They were playing that first shift, shift, but that was great because it was like I had my own private gig. They're really good, it's kind of chilled, funky grooves. I think the guy at the rights with the singer, female singer, I think the guy at the rights was maybe the drummer. So really funky grooves, funky bass, female vocalist. There was a guy on keys as well. It was great because it was just, I didn't expect to go to Glastonbury and have an intimate gig like that.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. So that was 11 o'clock. That was an hour. It was just great. Just stood there, just bobbing my head for an hour. Then I went round to a smaller little kind of tent marquee to see Don Letts DJ.
Oh yeah.
Because he's a legend, a reggae legend.
Absolutely.
Beyond, right? So again, it was small, intimate crowd, 50 people, just people come and have a look. Stood and watch him play reggae and dub stuff for 30 minutes, 40 minutes. He was playing covers, but that were done in kind of dub style. So like Eurythmics, Sweet Dreams, a reggae version. They were all songs you knew, but they were all that reggae and dub vibe, which was nice. Another nice way to get the party started. And I was this close to him. I could have gone up and annoyed him and touched him, so that was great. So after that, we kind of mooched around a bit. We kind of had a look around the site, tried to get our bearings of where we are, and we ended up, so we thought, well, let's go and see a big act. So we went to the Pyramid stage and we watched most of the Libertines set.
All right, okay.
Now, I'm not a fan by any stretch of the imagination.
I loved them back in the day. I loved those first two albums were great.
Yeah, so and I only know their two biggest songs. What was it? You Can't Stand Me Now. And Don't Look Back at. Well, I can't remember what it is. Anyway, the two biggest songs, which I played right at the end of the set. But actually, they were obviously they've only reformed quite recently. But they were really good. You could tell they were well rehearsed. They filled their band out with. So you obviously got Pete Doherty and Carl Barrett, is it?
Carl Barrett, yeah, but it's Barrett is
Yeah.
yeah, but Carl Barrett is probably closer.
Yes, Paul Barrett was kind of holding it together with his guitar playing,
Yeah.
and they were sharing the vocals. But they'd filled. I don't. Maybe it is their original band. I don't know. But I got the sense.
I thought they had to change the drummer. I mean, I know that they had the original drummer was a bloke of about my age, and then they fired him and got the black guy, and I can't remember his name.
Well, and that really worked. Yeah, that really worked him on drums because it made it kind of funkier. It gave their songs a bit of a kind of Motown edge, just because he had a really, the section was tight. He was doing really funky stuff that you wouldn't ordinarily do in an indie rock band, right? So that really, he was amazing, and I thought they were better. It was funkier, looser, and it really worked. And I have to say, I don't really like Libertines, and I probably wouldn't go and see them again. I actually really enjoyed it.
Oh, good. Yeah. I haven't watched that. Interestingly, I haven't watched them on the BBC. I'll give them a look because I have a feeling that I wish I'd seen them back in the day when they were anarchic and edgy and all of that. And like a lot of bands, they almost become their own tribute act. But I'll give them a look. I like those early songs were great.
I was happy that I got to see a whole set at the Pyramid stage. That was what we were trying to taste every stage, on that vast map behind me.
Yeah.
So that was good. I quite enjoyed that and didn't expect to. So after that, then again, just mooching around. We stayed away from Rod Stewart.
I watched a bit actually because I didn't add him to my list because I wasn't going to watch him at all. But Jane had the TV on after tea, and she said, "I want to watch some of Rod Stewart," so she put him on. The few minutes that I watched, I actually thought he was okay. I mean, interestingly, yes, he's 80 now. He doesn't look it. And he's running around the stage like a 60-year-old, shall we say. What's really interesting, those high notes, he's obviously had some training because he was doing this and opening his throat, and you could tell, and he was having a little bit of support from the backing singers. But I thought he's actually obviously worked at trying to keep his voice for an 80-year-old man as good as possible. And his voice sounded good, for what it was, really.
I think he pulled a bit. I mean, it was everywhere. He was omnipresent around. He was dubbed Rodigy, which I thought was quite. And everywhere you went, people had like the wigs on. People were dressed up like in leopard skin.
Yeah.
So he was definitely. I guess the legend slot maybe does that. Drives the costumes of the week. So it definitely it felt like it brought fun vibes to the festival, but we swerved it. So instead of Rodigy, we went to a little stage, Avalon stage, and we saw Alex Horn and the Horn Section. You know them? The guy off Taskmaster?
Oh, yeah.
And he does skits, comedy songs with his band and stuff. So we went and watched a few tunes of theirs, which was good fun.
I'm going to say the band's really good. I've seen the band play before.
Yeah. We went and watched that. They just do fun, amusing songs in the style of Victoria Wood.
Yeah.
Those, some of those that acts that were quite big. That's probably a bit harsh. Me saying Victoria.
No. Victoria Wood was great.
Accomplished musicianship with a bit of humour, right? So that was good. Then we went again traipsing around. We went to Westholtz and saw a band called Goat.
Oh yes, I saw that they were on. I don't know anything about Goat.
Really good, kind of psychedelic, proggy psychedelic. Okay. So you don't know their identity. I think they're Scandinavian. I might have got that wrong, but that was a good vibe. Again, it wasn't completely rammed, but there were lots of people there. It sounded great. Only watched a few songs. Then I moved on to a place called Lonely Hearts and saw Snapped Ankles. I think
I know Snapped Ankles. Yeah, actually, Snapped Ankles. Yeah, I know them.
The industrial, fancy industrial. They were really, really good. I liked them anyway. And I'm glad I caught them. I watched all of their set. They, again, wear costumes, so you don't know their identity. Very synth heavy. They had a drummer. So I think there was a bit of backing track on the drums, but all of the synth work was live. You could tell because they were making mistakes. They were opening up filters. They were getting caught out when the resonance went a bit high, and that they were doing lots and lots of work with lots of synth work.
Good.
Really good. Definitely should go and see them if they come around. Right. It was 9 Inch Nails, the
Yeah.
Industrial, Nitzareb, really good. They were really energetic. The singer was really energetic. I'm really glad I caught them. Loads of synth action for the E-mommers out there.
Yeah.
It was cool. So then from there, we're getting into the afternoon. The sun came out. It was all kind of cloudy till about 3 o'clock, and the sun started to come out. We went to the other stage, which is the big as the pyramid stage, and we watched Snow Patrol. And again,
all right, okay.
Don't really like Snow Patrol, but you've got to appreciate,
some big songs.
Exactly,
big songs.
Exactly that. It's dad rock.
It is. Yeah.
And I don't want to say. No, I'm not going to say. I was going to say something, but it's lazy. But it was dad rock. But I was going to say,
there's nobody watching. You're all right.
That's lazy. That's lazy.
Actually, I missed what you said there. It just broke up a little bit, so I didn't get what you said.
It was a lazy reference. I was saying they're a poor man's U2.
Oh, right. Well, yes, yeah.
But actually, they're not. They're their own, right?
Yeah, they are.
So went to see them, and because we wanted to see a big, in the sun. Everybody's doing this, right? Big songs. The light up. They've got some real anthemic songs. So that was a really good feel. Good tunes, feel good. They were very good, very tight. They were very pleased to be there. I think they said they hadn't played for some time, like 12 years or something. Proper stadium band in that setting. It was good. So that was pretty good. Then I went to the park stage and saw Future Islands, who I like, electronic-y kind of rock.
That rings a bell, but I don't think I've seen them.
There's a singer. The singer's called Samuel Herring, and it sings like this on the side.
All right, okay.
But that's actually really good. So I got into him. He did a track with DJ Shadow, who I love, and I was like, "Oh, who's this singer? He's from Future Islands." And then I got into Future. So we went and watched their set. Also, again, great. They really enjoyed it. Then I'm nearly there. Then I went to see a band. So Ali, our friend that we was with, her must-see band of the day was a band called Bear's Den. Have you ever heard of them?
No.
But so they were guitars, acoustic guitars, electric guitars, all very good musicians. Guy on synths, playing some horns. Again, a little bit Snow Patrol-y, a little bit Mumford and Sons-y.
Oh, okay.
All good quality songs. All the fans that were there seemed to know them and sing along. UK band. It was very MOR.
Right.
But good. And again, it was nice to see a band like that in a setting with 2,000 or 3,000 people. Again, that was quite intimate. So that was really good. So starting getting late. We headed to the Prodigy. So we wanted to see all of Bear's Den. So we missed the first bit of Prodigy. And by the time we got there, we were so on the periphery because the crowd was huge.
Yeah.
So we saw 2 or 3 songs. I think we missed the opening was really, really powerful.
Yeah.
So we missed the first couple of songs. It was from a distance. We were at a right angle to all the laser show and everything, so didn't get the full effect of that really. And because we're old boring people, we were at the other stage, which had 100,000 people there.
Yeah.
And that's kind of in the middle of the camp really. And to get our bus, you had to leave the other stage and walk all the way around the pyramid stage, which was with Olivia Rodrigo.
Oh yeah.
There was another 90,000 people there. So we made a decision, right, if we sit and watch all of Prodigy, we're going to have Prodigy crowd, Olivia Rodrigo crowd, all trying to get either back to their tents or get to the buses. We're going to be walking like this for 2 hours and we'll miss our bus. Yeah. So we watched about 3 songs of Prodigy. We got the taste of that. We went to the pyramid stage, watched a couple of songs of Olivia Rodrigo, Robert Smith. But what I would say is the Olivia Rodrigo one sounded fantastic.
It was good.
Her voice really cut through. Again, she must have, she's one of the biggest artists in the world right now. Yeah. I'm guessing she's got the best session musicians playing with her. It sounded good. She was doing a couple of quite rocky numbers.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So the sound was amazing, and this was from afar, and we were kind of just walking. It took us 3 songs to walk all around perimeter of the crowd, right? But even then, so far out, I always thought, you go to a festival and it's PA and it's outside the sound shit. But it wasn't. It was amazing. Even though, as I say, you were at the back of 90,000 people, it was still a really, really amazing sound. So we did that and we got back to the bus stop, lucky enough to get on a bus, and we were back home by about midnight.
That's not bad. It's all right.
Overall, an amazing day. We absorbed a lot. Definitely £123 well spent.
Yeah.
So that was the day. It was a bit long. I'm going to hand back to you. I have done some kind of positives and negatives that maybe we wrap up in. Maybe we do it in the next part.
We haven't got a notification yet, so we're all right at the moment. So, but there'll be an Ask Ian, I guess, is there?
Yeah, we can do an Ask Ian. Yeah, maybe have to come back to that.
Yeah.
So, should we go back to your?
Yeah, I mean, my only criticism of the I thought the BBC coverage, as always, is really good.
Yeah,
and taking away the fact of the faux pas, shall we say, that the BBC did over Bob Villan. I struggle to find anything from the introducing stage. In previous years, they've always had a link to it, and I couldn't find any of the sort of the up and coming acts that were probably performing. Yeah. And I still can't find it. I've been looking again today. So that's a bit of that's my only real negative from a watcher at home point of view. But I thought generally the sound's really good. You can pick and choose, once you get your head round. They've put it into sort of streams, haven't they? So they've got chilled and they've got electronic, and like Gary Newman was in electronic, which is fair enough, but the acts weren't always where I expected to find them.
Right. Okay.
I had to go through all of them to find the people that you really wanted to.
Okay.
But no, I thought overall the coverage it's free. Well, it costs them a license fee, but and they do cover it so well, it's worth the license fee alone for that.
Yeah. It's good. And I would say, in my positives, I've talked about most of them there as I was giving you my day, 15 minutes, but, very well organised, loads of volunteers, all very helpful. It was very safe, felt, very safe. There's no idiots chewing their face off on ket.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe there is at 2 a.m. in the morning, I don't know, but felt safe. Yeah. The app was great. Helping you navigate around the site. I guess that's a fairly new development.
Yeah.
It helped you the lineups. You could favourite them, so you'd get notifications that your band was on and stuff. That was really good. There's so much to do. I mean, we did a podcast a couple of months ago about all the the main festivals in the UK and the £300, and was it cutting people out of being able to go to festivals? But I would say if you went for 5 days and you spent £350 or whatever, that's serious value for money. I mean, it's multiple festivals within a festival.
I'm going to say, because if you look at the cost of just the ticket to go to a gig,
exactly.
So, and the amount of acts that you can see at something like Glastonbury or any large festival,
I saw like a dozen people. I saw some big sets. If I went to see Prodigy, Snow Patrol, Olivia Rodrigo, and some of those other acts, it'd cost me more than £120.
It would, yeah, definitely.
So, value for money for the festival. They weren't ripping you off with food and drinks either. That was sensible.
Because that's the question I had was because the only times that I've been to a reasonable festival, which was up in Leeds, and the cost of the stuff at the stalls was really expensive.
Right.
Whether you weren't allowed to take water in or any of that sort of business, so you're having to buy bottles of water when you were there, and at a really stupid, exorbitant price. Granted, it's a few years ago, but that's good to know that it's not a rip off. No,
it's not a rip off, and you can take your own drinks in as well, right?
Can you?
Yeah. So I took. I don't drink. I only drink zeros, but I took some zeros in.
Yeah.
Took some juices in, but even so, it was still. I felt like you should buy stuff because there's a lot of stalls. There's a lot of people whose livelihoods are there, right? Yeah. So that was pretty good. So I'll give you a couple of negatives.
Go on then.
Not so negatives, but maybe observations. So thing that struck me is it's very middle-aged and middle-class crowd.
Oh, is it?
There's lots of matchas, lots of falafel.
So it still kept its hippie vibe then?
Well, hippie but gentrified, probably.
Really?
Less hippie but more gentrified. I mean, there's the healing fields and all that sort of stuff. That's all that's still going on, and it is very much still in touch with the roots of that. But the crowd were all very middle class. You could tell. I mean, here's me talking. You could tell everybody's got a corporate job, corporate 5 jobs Monday to Friday. Their kids are probably called River and Jupiter. And most people then, they're middle aged. I mean, who am I to talk? But But a lot of people just reliving their youth when they're at the festival, which is fine, which is okay.
It is. Yeah.
But very middle class. And I don't want to be, look, we started political and I don't want to get political, but if there's 200,000 people there, I hate to say it, but 199,000 of them were white.
Wow.
Weren't very diverse at all.
Really?
And diverse in all types, really. A lot of people mistake what diverse is, but it wasn't very diverse. They did have, in terms of diversity, they did have viewing platforms for any disabled people.
Because I said to Jane about that, because it's in fields. So how do disabled people in wheelchairs get around?
Well, they have electric buggies and stuff. So there's lots.
Do they?
So if you're on the kind of mobility scooters, you can get around. They were moving people around in Land Rovers and stuff as well.
Good. Yeah.
So pretty much most of the stages of a certain size all had a viewing platform that was raised up.
Oh, that's good.
So that was quite cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, not very diverse, honestly.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And the last one, really, there's no getting away from the fact the loos. You're never far away from being downwind from the loos on day 5.
There was 10,000 toilets this year.
And it's well done. It's well done. But it stinks.
Jane was talking to somebody who was on the pee police.
Right.
Because there was a much bigger problem. I don't know, it's just this year or previous, but anyway, this year in particular, people peeing in hedges and because of the effect, if you've got 200,000 people and a good percentage of those are just peeing wherever they want to, it affects the land quite significantly. And because it all goes, that urine's going into the river.
Yeah.
So there was quite a lot. One of the Froome charities, I think, was I can't remember what they were called now, but that their job was to try and educate people and to try and stop them, without being heavy-handed about it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see any of that. Like I say, I didn't see any trouble. Didn't see anything that was undesirable. There was toilets everywhere, urinals. There was even female urinals. Right. You could utilise a she-wee and not have to call the long drop toilets. But because it was hot, it was 30 plus degrees. There was hardly any wind cooling down, hardly any shade.
Yeah.
Wherever you weren't far away from the smell of the loo, and it kind of you need to wash your clothes. And if you've been there 5 days, my God,
Yeah, I can imagine.
That's about it. Not many negatives. I'm not. You're not being. Don't want to be too harsh.
Well, you've not put me off, so I'd still like to go either as a volunteer or as a day. Go for the day.
Yeah, no.
I don't know if I want to go for the whole thing just as a punter. Jane's not into camping, so I suppose. Can you come off site? So
you can. So you could go home every night if you've got a weekend ticket. You could go home. That's what I would do. I wouldn't camp.
I think I'm going to say that would be the best thing to do, I think, rather than camp. I'm up for camping, to be fair, and I've done it before. Camping.
You could. If I did it, I would probably just drive home. But it's a bit of a ball ache to get all across the site to get to the car park to get your car out. You need to plan your day to be ending up being close to
where you are.
Yeah. But it is amazing, and you know what, having never been, I've probably in the past been a bit sniffy about it, Glastonbury, and a lot of people are Glastonbury, and they're using the Bob Villain thing to go Glastonbury.
Yeah.
But I think it's amazing, and we should celebrate it. What it offers. There's something for everyone. you know, if there really is, if you want to go and find a little quiet corner and
you can do
some yoga, do some, I don't know, have your palm read, watch a circus act, listen to
because there's a circus field, isn't there? Well, it says we're running out of time, so we're probably going to have to go to the third one. I forgot what I was going to say. I was going to say something. Oh yes, just we may get cut off, and we may have to redo this if we lose it. But I was talking to Terry who does the Froome Fridge, and she went to Glastonbury on the Monday to pick up the wasted food.
Right.
And apparently the people that stay in the yurts, they get 3 meals a day. But what happens is they go there and sleep, but then they might have breakfast, but then they don't go back because it's such a big site. So the chefs have got all this spare food, which they've actually luckily donated to the Froome Fridge. So Terry went to pick it all up.
Wow.
But she said that the food waste was really a real big problem. I mean, there's a lot of waste because people leave tents, people leave all sorts of rubbish, and I saw a bit on the news of people, clearing up the rubbish off the pyramid stage after people have left, and they do that on every day.
Yeah, that annoyed me a little bit that you were still walking over empty cans and empty glasses when we're never far away from a bin. Just put it in there. Take it with you. Yeah. But that was quite an eye opener when I was talking to her on Wednesday. Right, we'll finish it there, and we'll come back with whatever else, with Ask Ian and recommendations, I suppose, isn't it? I did see cinnamon buns. We haven't talked about that.
All right, we got cinnamon bun talk. Okay, see you in a minute.
See ya.